Hi you guys, it's Tonya, and I'm excited today to bring you this little mini that I created using the MyTeddyBoo kitchen mini album set. And this set is available on MyTeddyBoo website, and I'll put the link to it down below in the description down in there, so make sure you click down to see. For this mini album, I used the Western Romance from Webster's pages as my paper collection, and it's kind of an odd collection to use for this, but when we get working with it you'll understand why I did it. But Western Romance is more about a Western romance. It's a very romantic paper line. I think it was one that Webster's Pages came out with a couple of years ago around Valentine's Day. So it has a lot of like love and things like that, love letter kind of things. But I really wanted to use it because I live here in the southern part of the United States, and a lot of our recipes surround southern type cooking. So I really was excited when Amy mentioned to me that she would like for me to use that to design this album. So what you get with the kit is you get 5 of the back chipboard pieces, and it's really nice because they're very large. You've got a lot of real estate here for photographs or decorating, whichever you want to do. The platforms are around 9 inches wide, so you know you have plenty of space here for a 3x5 photograph. And then you're also going to get the stoves that go on the edges, and you're going to get one of these little utensil pieces, the utensil rack with the utensil pieces that you see here, plus also a little teeny tiny teapot which goes in this set too. I didn't use the teapot, I don't believe, in this kit, but it would definitely be super cute sitting here on the stove. Also, when I decided to make this, because it does have recipes in it, I wanted to bind it from the top rather than from the side like we traditionally do with mini albums. So I just put a little bit of this little satin ribbon on the top to just kind of soften up these jump rings a little bit. I still needed it to be functional and be able to rotate it around the ring, so I didn't want it too bulky up here around it, but I didn't want to see these ugly rings either. So I just decided on something very simple. So on my cover, I'm going to pull these back so you can really see them. What I decided to do was use these are some of the what they call classic roses from Prima, and these are a very old Prima, but the paper line has that kind of 1970s retro kind of motif, if you will. There's a lot of hot pinks, a lot of you know, like these bright yellow colors, so I really wanted it to kind of pop with that throughout. So I used the yellow flowers with the purples, and I added a few things that I've had in my stash for quite a while. For those of you who follow me know that I have a thing for recipe books. I think this is the 3rd or 4th one that I've done. So I tend to migrate to those types of stickers, embellishments, that kind of thing. So I have a lot of it in my stash. These were one of those. I got them from a dollar bin at some point, and it says eat, drink, and be merry. And then this is also, it has that kind of retro 1970s kitchen feel. These are little bowls that were in a dollar bin that say enjoy. And then these were little Jolie's salt and pepper shakers. So super cute. And then there's some nice lace trimming out the bottom. So I wanted this to be able to be a self-standing easel when you're holding your recipes. So this book is going to be kind of awkward to show you guys on camera the way it's designed. So I'm going to try and lay it down like this and see if we can get it all in frame. I may have to move it up, but pardon the camera bump. I may have to move the camera a little bit. But what I decided to do here is I used the panels instead of with photographs. I used the panels as dividers for my recipe book. And here, this is a library pocket that I had that was made of craft cardstock. And then I had these from another paper collection. I think they're Heartwarming Vintage. And these are little mason jars that have lines on them. And like I said, they came from a stack that I have from Heartwarming Vintage. They're super cute. And then this is an old doily, crochet doily that I had in my stash that it was white, and I sprayed it with some glimmer mists. And then this is just one of those little flat roses that is like what do they call this? I don't know who makes them, but Prima had them, and I think also Maya Road had them or somebody. I don't know, but they are, or May Arts. It might have been May Arts. May have even been Webster. I don't really know who makes them. But they were white, and I sprayed it with some of the pink toned glimmer mists. And then these are some of my stamps that I've had for quite a while, and I stamped this one on silver with a black archival ink, and then this and this were all together on one stamp, and I cut them apart, and it says, a pinch of patience, a dash of kindness, a spoonful of laughter, and a heap of love. So as you can tell from the paper collection, it says love letters, and then these were little charms that are like a little place setting, so I just placed them one on top of the other. So this is my divider for breads, and I thought what I would do is, I don't have very many pictures of my grandmother because she passed away, I don't know, about 10 years ago, but we had a house fire when I was in high school. So a lot of the memories that I have of her, I don't have photographs of, so I thought what I would do is use these panels as an opportunity to kind of document some of the memories I have of her, because she spent an awful lot of time in the kitchen. I mean, as anyone who grew up in the South knows, everything revolves around food for us. So, you know, I got things falling everywhere. So these are, I have a collection of my grandmother's handmade recipes, and like this says jalapeno cornbread. So what I decided to do was, with this being the divider, I have the recipes inside of these little 4x6 sleeves that I can easily tuck them around or move them around, so that the one I want to use is in the front. It's protected, so I don't have to worry about anything getting on it. I can also pull it out of here if I want to, or I can use this book as a freestanding easel to reference the recipe. So, and it's a great way. You'll see some of these recipe cards my grandmother used quite a bit, so you will see stains and things on them, which is so cool. So here's some of her recipes. And then on this section, this one is done with chickens. There's a story behind this as well. When I was growing up, my grandmother had this giant farm that was, you know, lots of corn and tomatoes and things like that. And we spent the whole summer working in her garden. And she had this chicken coop with this ginormous 12-foot fence. And she used to hang the laundry inside the chicken coop, and it used to really bother me. So one day I asked her, I was like, you know, because it sounds kind of gross, but she would hang bed sheets and things like that out there on the in the chicken coop. So I asked her about it one day, and she said it kept the dogs from pulling the sheets off the line. So when I saw in the paper collection that there was actually a clothesline, I decided to make a chicken coop with a clothesline in it, because to me that was just a big part of my childhood. So I used one of the Prima hexagon stamps as my little chicken wire fence, and this is actually a card that I got from a dollar bin. So I cut the center piece of it out and used it in another place in the mini album. And then this is a chicken that was on one of the other cards. And then down in here I have tucked in a little measuring cup. And then I made, this was from the paper collection, it says live free, so I kind of made like a little flower box with that inside the chicken coop, because all of her chickens were free range chickens. They just walked all over the yard all the time, and she would put them inside the coop at night. But this is some Prima trim that I sprayed to make it green, and then I used these cute little paper clips from Tim Holtz to hang the laundry from the line, and some twine. So there's my chicken coop, and it says this is my meat. Now all of these titles I cut from my Cricut. I used, I think, the cartridges from the kitchen. So then on the inside here we have dessert, and in every southern home, you know, that dessert's a major part of who we are, but because I grew up in Georgia, Florida, peaches are a huge part of our agriculture. So almost every summer dish that is absolutely an amazing dessert revolves around peaches in one way or another. So I wanted to include the peaches on here. Again, those are from the little cards that I got from the dollar bin. And it says, "Life is peachy with you in it." So what I did was I used the Tim Holt pennant die, and I cut the triangular pennants that are in the background from that, and then I just free cut the ones that are on top that look like little fishtail flags. Then I sewed it all together, popped some of them up on pop dots, and then added my title to the top of that. And then I free-handed one of these flags, and then used one of my clay roses that I shared in a previous video how to make on a stick pin, and I just used it for the stem of the flag. And then the milk, the little milk carton that's down here, that actually came from this these paper, these, what are they called? The cards. I cut it off of one of those cards. And then the cowboy boots are part of the Webster's Pages line, and as you can see, it has that really retro pattern in it. So I loved it. It reminded me of the wallpaper in my grandmother's kitchen and a couple of her houses. So there's the another handmade recipe, peanut butter pie, and then her peach cobbler recipe is also in here. So I have it, and it's all like, look at that, it's all like marred. I'm not going to pull it out, but it has all marred up and everything, so that'll go in there. And then we have lemon pound cake, stuffed cabbage. So these are side dishes, and again I used this is just falling all around. I'm sorry guys, I'm reaching over the camera. This one is the side dishes, and I remember one of the houses that my grandmother had, the oven was like this enamel cast iron oven, and hers looked just like this. The doors were painted black, and then the oven itself was all this enamel. And when I embossed this, I noticed that sometimes the embossing powder got a little kind of frayed a little bit, and it wasn't looking too neat. But that's exactly how the cast iron was and the enamel on my grandmother's stove, so I went with it. And then what I did was to accentuate that a little bit, as I was going around the edges, I just took my sanding block and sanded off some of that embossing powder off the edges of the stove to make it look like her stove used to look. Isn't that cool? And then this is in the Webster's Pages line. This purple paper is as well, and all these flowers, and the hat had these cute little love notes all tucked down inside of there. So what I did was I turned this into like a little pocket, and I put on this little tag, fried okra, mac and cheese, sweet potato casserole, collards, and coleslaw. Simply enjoy it all, because that's, you know, staples. And then I wanted to write a little story and put it in here about the oven and all of that. And then I stamped on the bottom here, it says the kitchen is the heart of the house, and it has that cute little muffin pan down at the bottom. These are all brads from the eyelet outlet, and I cut the brad part off of it and hung them on the stove. And then this is like a little charm. I cut the charm off the end, and then this is just a little sticker that I had. So on the next page, I remember my grandmother coming home from church on Sunday mornings, and she always had her beautiful dress on and then this white apron over the top. So I decided to dress the dress form in that. The dress form does not come with this album, but it's one of Amy's dress forms from another album that she has. So I had an extra and I wanted to include it. The mailbox, as you can see, is part of the paper collection. It kind of follows that theme of love letter, and there were a lot of little teeny tiny love letters in this paper collection. So what I decided to do was to cut them out, and I added some wings to it, and then added them to the base of this tag. It just kind of helps to fill it in. And then on this tag it says, One of my favorite memories as a child was Sunday dinner after church. My grandmother would come in from church, don her white apron over her dress, and prepare a meal fit for a king. The meal was always filled with Southern favorites: fried chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans, collard greens, and hand-rolled biscuits. Can't forget the fried okra. I never liked fried okra. I had overeaten. I had fixed too much fried okra when I was little on my plate, and my grandmother was big on, you don't put more on your plate than you can eat. So I put all this mound of okra on my plate, and I literally ate it till I was sick, and I cannot eat it to this day. And she said it was because I was a glutton, so God punished me for being a glutton. But anyway, so the rest of this is just kind of to fill in around the edges. Again, this is part of that Jolie set. So here's some more of my grandmother's recipes written in here. And then on this page, another house that she had at one point, or my mom had, I can't remember which one. I think it was my mom, actually. They had, remember in the 70s when these ovens, they were this mustard colored or this olive color, or and orange, I think was the other color. These were super popular back there. Well, at some point in my childhood, somebody had one, and I remembered it, so I put it in here. And then I just tea-dyed these little tags, and I want to write some more memories about gathering eggs with my grandfather and putting them in here. And then we come to the back of the book, and so on the back I just kept it really simple and used some of this Meyer Road trim here and added a little peekaboo with a recipe and things like that, but I wanted to keep this very simple. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you like my little mini album, and you know, go check out Amy's site, MyTeddyBoo.com. I'll put a link to it down below. This kit is like $17, and then if you want it with the Webster's Pages collection, she has that as an add-on on our site too. So make sure you just request that if you want to. Anyway, so thanks for watching. Please leave me comments.